the project hasn't really started. The credits that are associated with employment and with capital investment, thankfully, haven't been paid out. There has been some money diverted from statewide highway projects that have been, spent on infrastructure, and there's been a lot of local money spent that is hoping to be paid back with the future land value with a project like this. But I mean, the opportunity costs, the fact that the state's focus has been putting all its eggs in one basket the last 2 years for a project that is now defunct, I think leaves a lot of people scratching their heads and a lot of us saying, we told you so.
Hey, Gordon, I just want to jump on that word defunct. I mean, this is really not happening, 100% dead?
Well, when we debated this, when they made the announcement at the White House with all the fanfare, it seemed to be a project that we're going to have manufacturing jobs coming back to the heartland in Wisconsin, an area that had been devastated by the loss of car manufacturers and other manufacturing in Racine County. And we were told we were going to make these large panel LCD screens that would be the first.
Right. Gordon,
Yeah.
Foxconn said it can't compete by making the screens. We know that. Has Foxconn told the legislature in Wisconsin that they're out, that this is a dead deal? Because they actually said yesterday it wasn't a really good promise, but they still plan to deliver 13,000 jobs. So do you know something that you can share with us? Is it dead?
The 13,000 jobs was from an Ernst & Young economic analysis based specifically on the large panel screens. A year ago, they said, well, we're not going to make the large panel screens. We're going to make the Generation 6 screens. Now they're not even going to do that. So how could they promise 13,000 research and engineering jobs? I don't think there's a place that has 13,000 research and knowledge-based engineering jobs anywhere. So we have no idea what's really going to happen. They've started construction on a facility. I think this is the time when we need transparency and accountability on just what can take place. But what was sold to the public, what the president and the governor and others talked about in terms of this resurgence of manufacturing just simply isn't going to happen.
So, Gordon, it sounds like that, I mean, what are the lines of communication here between Foxconn and state legislators like yourself? I mean, it sounds like you're in the dark here. You're not hearing things from the company directly, that you're having to rely on press accounts to find out what's going to be happening in your state.
That's absolutely right. If you're going to put as much as $4 billion of taxpayer money and incentives in a project like this, the one thing that you need to get right is the transparency and accountability. And from day one, that hasn't been there. When we have pressed the state's economic development agency, the WEDC, they have said, look, Foxconn's a successful company. We're not here to tell them how to make their business decisions. And that's just not good enough. The fact that we are moving forward with something that we have no idea, I'm not sure they know. And it's different than what we asked.
What's in the past is past. Scott Walker's gone. The new governor's a Democrat. Can't he get on the phone and say, look, you want this $4 billion in tax? We want proof. Can't the governor do that?
Absolutely.
Why hasn't he?
I think, I think they've had ongoing meetings, but they were caught off guard by this and that there hadn't been that kind of communication with the state agency. I think it's important to note that Republicans, during a lame duck session in December, essentially took control of the state's economic development agency, largely, I think, to try to protect the Foxconn project from the kind of governor's intervention. But look, if we're going to have something, we want it to be successful and accountable to the taxpayers. It just doesn't look like it's going to be anything close to the scale of what was promised.
Gordon, just quickly, are you concerned about this company? I mean, it sort of does have a bit of a checkered reputation anyway, right?
Well, that was one of the things that a lot of us raised concerns about. They had a history of overpromising and underperforming. I think they're scaling back on international projects at the same time they're backing off of what they committed to here. You know, when it was originally proposed, it had at best a 25-year payback if everything went right. We had concerns about the LCD market simply not being viable over long term. And, you know, that's what we've seen over the past year and a half, is that the market's just simply not there and we can't be competitive in the production.